Slurp diddly derp my G's, just a little quick video today because I'm a little bit tired and it's Saturday. I've had a busy week, been working today, and but I promised I'd do a video every day, so I have come up with the goods. Not going to edit the video today, I don't think, but I've just made this bass sound here. I wanted to do like a one-shot bass sound in phase plant, and it sounds like this on its own. And I've made a little part for the intro as well, so I've used the sound. Just turned it down, put on like a lot of reverb and EQ'd some of the highs and the lows off, and put a nice amount of delay on and a bit of Valhalla Supermassive to get a really long tail on it. So let's play what we've sort of got with the intro now then, continuing on our project that we're sort of working on together on this little tutorial series this month. So this is what we've got so far. Okay, so pretty basic still, like we're not there yet, don't worry. But I like this sound here, like this kind of one-shot bass sound. And I'll show you how I made it in phase plant and then how I processed it as well. So starting off in phase plant on its own, it sounds like this. So we're sort of like 70 or 80% of the way there before the post-processing, okay? And I'll start off with mainly starting off just with 2 sine waves and then adding in some granular sample after that. We set up the first movement just with the sine waves. I can turn off my noise and the effects here, and what you'll see is I have an LFO here that I've drawn in a little bit, just clicked here and drawn the shape. I've moved the phase so it starts at the top here, changing the phase here, and then just done the speed sort of by ear down here. And everything is tracked to this. There's a lot of modulations happening on this LFO. But for like a one-shot bass sound, you know, simple up and down kind of, or sort of just ramp down in a sense, LFO. But we're just going to be tracking like loads of different parameters to the same LFO to give it that shape and that detail. Okay? So the first thing I've gone ahead and done, and you can see there's loads of movement going on already, but basically I've just got 2 sine waves, one on the basic shapes kind of here, and the first one is -24 and the second one here is -23.86. so they're detuning a bit, so there's a bit of a wobble between them, and I've put then both of these, the pitch of both of these onto the LFO. So I've just dragged my LFO to the pitch and then right clicked, and then you can type in the amount that you want, but here I've basically put them to exactly +12. So what that does obviously makes them go up a whole octave. All right, so they sort of start off an octave higher. Sorry, I'm a bit tired to say again. Okay, the gain from this one is turned off. Okay, gain is off, and the output here, I've made it FM into the first one. So just taking the output, put it into the phase of this one. All right, so we've got some FM going on between the 2 sine waves. So that's important. The sync mode is turned up on both of them, and that's not a kitchen sync or like a bathroom sync. It's it changes the waveform to make it a little bit more like a saw wave, is what I sort of notice. So you can get a bit of extra grit and extra high-end harmonics should you want some, you know. Another thing I've done just quickly on the modulation is you know, the FM, okay, the FM going in here is also being modulated. So the amount of FM is being modulated by the LFO. So what I've done is click my LFO here, and then click on this little yellow star beneath here, and you can see the LFO now is going to be changing the amount of the FM movement. Okay, so just put that on there. So we've got a nice, a nice bit of dynamic shape thrown in that part of the chain. Okay, another part of the sort of dynamic flavor comes from modulating the level of this secondary one on an LFO. Okay, so I've put this LFO again to the level here and just turned it up about 44%. So there's a bit more volume coming in on that. All right. It's a little bit underwhelming still because I need to do some more stuff. But you can also see the global unison. That's also on with modulation on the blend, so it has a bit of a stereo to mono kind of mixture in the process. Yeah. But the main thing that gives it a bit more life and interest is the granular sample section, of course. Okay, and this is just one that comes in phase plant. It's vocals, male vowels, sorry, mid, and all that really is running through our chain with FM once again. So the output here is going into the phase of this guy, okay. And you already know that this guy is FMing this guy. So the first organic sound goes into our carrier sine wave here. And then that one goes into the main one. Okay, so it's sort of a 3-part process. And here we've got just a bit of movement going on around in the sample. And you can find different tones by moving that around. And I've tweaked the sort of speed of the grains and everything here. And after that, all I really do is add on a little bit of white noise as well, just for the high end, and then we just distort the living daylights out of it all. So all I've done on the effects is quite simple, is 2 distortions and a bit of convolution reverb. Okay, and it just brings it from 0 to hero, essentially. The first distortion, overdrive, up at 6 dB, mixing it on the LFO from 0 to 100. So really the whole dynamic shape is being controlled here of the mix of the distortion, you know. And similarly, we've done it again here, but we're not going all the way up with our secondary distortion. I just wanted a bit more is all really. So the different mode for a different color, and then both of those working together get us a much nicer kind of volume, and also bit more interesting character, and you start to hear the high end of that sort of granular sample come out a bit more in the sound, which is important to give it that sort of natural top end. Okay, and then lovely bit of convolution to give it just a slight bit of an extra organic touch. Again, I'm just blending the mix up and down a bit on the LFO for a bit of extra realism. Okay, but that's just up around 30% or so. So we've got, it's sort of reverbing the sound a fair amount, but it does give us a bit more of a lead sound in a sense, you know. So it's sort of like a mid bass lead one shot. That's why I called it mid bright, because it's definitely in the higher kind of register, you know. But it does have a lot of weight to it as well. So it's like a lead bass, I would say, kind of thing, you know. But yeah, it's all of it comes from that pitch movement, really. You know, the pitching of the oscillators. I should mention I also pitched the granular sample as well. So again, I put that up 12 semitones, so a whole octave is going down. So we've got this like pitch down movement on all of the main sound sources. And this one here is also tracked to the level. So again, when you get to the bottom, the level of that granular sample is going to be off. And so it's just one thing to always play around with when you're doing your synthesis. The things that really, they're just the very, very basic parts of the sound sources always, you know. It's the volume and the pitch. It's something that we often overlook, and we want to get complex with like really weird spectral wave shapes and like really crazy granular stuff. But really, with a couple of sine waves, with a good control of exactly how you're modulating the levels of them and how you're modulating the pitches of them, and especially when you run that through distortion, you can get so many different results just by playing with those like 2 parameters, you know. So those are like almost the most important parameters to always modulate to get like the most interesting tone from a bass sound, you know. So don't overlook the modulation of the levels and the pitching, you know. You can really do a lot by changing the pitch. Here, you know, changing the amount of level there and changing those pitches around. And I've already got another cool sound. I'm going to bounce that one out actually. I didn't actually mean to hit gold that quickly, but that's a lovely little variation actually that I can bring in later, and I'll do that on a future video. We'll bring that in. But if I go back and sort of undo what I've done here and go back to the original, yeah. Oops, sorry, it's a little bit loud there. Back to the original, but yeah, so that was just a demonstration of when you're feeling stuck, don't be afraid to just really mess with the volumes of the oscillators and the pitch of them. You know, once they're going through a bit of a chain of effects, and that's going to just make a massive difference, and you might get a better result. So it's a great thing to always go back and redo, you know. So that's pretty much that patch done, to be quite honest with you. There's not too much else to it, but we can quickly go over to the post-processing. So what I did was I bounced that one out, and I made a convolution kind of layer to it, which is a distortion convolution layer, which sounds like this. Yeah, so nice and gritty, guttural. Yeah, and that comes from Ruiner, first of all, and I've been using Ruiner for a while, and it's a free creative distortion plugin, and I love it. And especially if you turn up the Doom mode, you can get some wicked harmonics from that. They're very dirty, like lo-fi kind of sounding, you know, tweaking the overdrive and the phase and the fold and the saturate, so you got a nice kind of distortion sound. Okay, but then obviously it's a bit too much together with the original. It's a bit overwhelming, you know, so I'm just going to blend it in the background. So I'm going to convolute it here, give it a nice room sound, short and tight room kind of thing. Taking out a bunch of low end, and then also a bit of transient shaping to make it a little bit tighter, because that convolution reverb made it a little bit too long. So I'm then shortening the tail again a little bit here. Okay, and then once I've done that, turning it down importantly as well, putting it a bit more in the background, and then they kind of fit together around now, you know. They're not sort of clashing with each other too much. And so what I did was I just highlighted them both and bounced them out together. So they're a whole new sample of the two blended together, which sounds like this then. So a sort of final sound of the convolution layer and the original put together. So we have that natural edge on top of it now. And then a little bit of processing to finish. I felt like it just lacked like a tiny bit of high end still. So all I did was use one of my favorite plugins to give a bit of extra high-end boost, and that's the Klanghelm SDRR, and turning up the treble a little bit and just mixing that in. I just like the way it boosts the treble, you know. So a bit brighter, and then I've used it in a way where it's sort of one shots throughout the loop so far. So just to stop it from getting too boring, I just put on a little pitch drift, so there's a bit of a random pitch movement going on throughout the channel. Okay. And that's pretty much all I've done there. And then I've done quite a heavy LFO to the kick. Just a volume, yeah, drawing in the volume gap almost to 100%, not quite. And that just really, that overly sidechained feeling gives it a little bit more flair in the track, I think, for that kind of sound. I wouldn't do that on every bass hit, but for this one, I felt like it needed more shaping still. So I thought I'll sidechain it quite aggressively, and it'll give it a little bit of an extra bit of funk, a bit of a funkier shape. I haven't forgotten, guys. I know you guys were thinking of some ideas for a little hook we could have before the drop, and I'll try and implement something like that for tomorrow's video if I get time. But also, what I really want to talk about tomorrow is AI mastering, and also want to talk about a little bit about my mastering process without giving everything away. I want to give you like maybe one little mastering tip tomorrow. So again, excuse me that I've been a little bit tired today. I haven't really been bothered to edit this video, but I thought I might as well do a little tutorial anyway and just keep up the momentum. So hope it was still informative for you. Thank you everyone for watching the stream yesterday. That was a lot of fun. Can't believe the quality of some of those tracks we heard yesterday was really, really amazing. And thanks everyone for supporting the label and Digipax's new release. Really appreciate that. And yeah, we're going to crack on tomorrow. I'll have a bit more sleep tonight, so I'll be a bit fresher tomorrow, and I'm going to do a little video for you guys on my thoughts on AI mastering and also some general mastering advice. So hope that will be exciting and useful for you guys. Have a great weekend, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Peace out.